All right, guys, we are now moving on to muscular and nervous tissue. I know you're thinking to yourself, Mr. Plaza, can't this just be over? Can't the tissue chapter just be over? We're almost there. This is it. This is the end. This is the finale. This is it. This is it, guys. You've almost made it to the end of talking about tissues. So we're almost there. You got this. You just got to dig a little bit deeper. We're going to get through this together. So let's take a look at muscle tissue and nervous tissue. So the main thing with muscle tissue is movement, okay? Muscle tissue is going to produce movement, and it's going to move a variety of things. It's going to move bone, it can move blood, it can propel things like fecal matter, waste products, or nutrients throughout your body. But the major job of muscular tissue is movement is what it's going to do. And how it moves things is muscle tissue contracts. Okay, so tissue contracts. When it contracts, it gets shorter. When it gets shorter, that's how it's going to move things, is what it's going to do. Is this contraction, this contraction, this contraction. You think of your heart, boom. When it pumps, boom, boom. That's contraction, boom. It just pumped right there. It's going to move a variety of substances. We have three main types of muscle tissue. We have skeletal muscle, cardiac muscle, and smooth muscle. So let's take a look at the major muscle types. So skeletal muscle is one thing that we say is if it's voluntary or involuntarily controlled. Voluntary controlled meaning that your brain, you have conscious thought in order to get this particular type of muscle to move. Skeletal muscle is the only one that's under voluntary control. The other two are involuntarily controlled. Skeletal muscle is going to pull on bone. So when skeletal muscle contracts, it pulls on bone is what it's going to do. It can also pull on skin a little bit, like when I'm smiling. Hey, I'm smiling. Oh, Mr. Plazik, you're smiling. Or Mr. Plazik, you're frowning. Okay, that's pulling on skin. Okay, smiling and frowning is that. But for the most part, it pulls on bone. It's going to move bone. It's going to create your facial expressions. It's going to produce your gross body movements is what it's going to do. Skeletal muscle has striations on it. It's multinucleic, meaning that each cell has more than one nuclei. These cells are very long and cylindrical when I take a look at them. So this is an image of skeletal muscle that I'm going to show you next, and I'll kind of explain what you're taking a look at. So you can see with skeletal muscle, each one of these cells is super, super, super long. Okay, so this is a super, super, super long cell that we're looking at right here. All right, it has these striations. Okay, and these striations are created by the order of myosin and actin. Don't worry, when we get to the muscular system, I'll talk about this more in depth. And there are multiple nuclei inside the cell. Okay, and a lot of times these nuclei get kicked towards the outside of the cell. Okay, they're not in the outside, but they're towards the outside. All right, so that is skeletal muscle, striated, multinucleic. When you look at it, it's a very long cell. The next type of muscle that we're going to take a look at is cardiac muscle. And cardiac muscle is going to pump blood. It's only found in the walls of your heart. So the only found in the walls of your heart is cardiac muscle. It is striated. It's uninucleic. There's only one nuclei per cell. And these cells, they have something called intercalated discs. So these cells attach to other cells. That we call attached to other cells via intercalated discs, and this allows them to kind of beat in unison. No, your heart has to beat in unison. Your heart has to beat in unison together. Everyone has to be on the same page. So these intercalated discs aid in that particular process. Remember, this is under involuntary control when we take a look at the cardiac muscle. This is a picture of cardiac muscle right here, and I'll explain this to you. You can see here is a cell right here. Okay. And you can see inside of these cells, okay, this is a cell right here. This is a cell right here. But you can see inside these cells, we have these intercalated discs. Okay, so this is an intercalated disc. This is an intercalated disc. This is an intercalated disc. This is attaching one cell to another cell is what it's doing. And these cells tend to be a little bit more branchy. Okay, so there's a muscle cell right here. There's an intercalated disc right here. I want to make these intercalated discs. I'm going to make them like really bold so you can kind of see them. Okay, so there's an intercalated disc, and it kind of can branch up like this is what it can do. Okay, or it can branch down like this is what it can do. There's a lot more open space in between the cells that you can see when you're looking at the cardiac muscle. There are all striations that are present there. The key to identifying this, when I give you an image of it on your quiz, is identifying these intercalated discs. Then you know that it is a cardiac muscle. A lot of times I have them diagrammed for you. If you look at that little practice images, you can see the intercalated discs in those images of that practice little PowerPoint that I gave you guys. The next type of muscle tissue that we have is going to be smooth muscles. So smooth muscle, it's smooth in appearance. There's not striations that are associated with it that are a part of the other two. It's found in the walls of every hollow organ with exception to the heart. So it's going to be found in the walls of your stomach. It's going to be found in the walls of your bladder. It's going to be found in the walls of your esophagus, your trachea. You find smooth muscle. There's one nuclei per cell, and these cells tend to be more eyeball or spindle-like shape. When you take a look at them, they're also involuntarily controlled. So I can guarantee you guys on this quiz that you're going to take, I'm going to ask you a question like, which of the following muscle types are under voluntary control? You know that that's skeletal muscle. Which of the following muscle types are under involuntary control? You know that that is smooth and cardiac muscle that you're looking at. Smooth muscle is real smooth in appearance. And you can see the cells are more spindle-like shape. They kind of look like this. Okay, that's how the cells look. And they have one nuclei per cell. It's real smooth in appearance. This is a good diagram right here, a good image of what you would be seeing underneath the microscope. Unfortunately, this year we can't get out microscopes to see these different tissue types. This is why we have to attack it this way. And this chapter tends to be a little bit more boring when we're dealing with it. So that is your smooth muscle. So you know those three muscle types that we have, skeletal, cardiac, and smooth. You kind of know the differences between them, where you find them. The final tissue type that we have is nervous tissue. And nervous tissue is very important in your body. It's a type of tissue that has ability to generate electrical impulses. Okay, so it's extremely irritable. Meaning like a person that's irritable, like, hey, they like snap back at you. Hey, yeah, I'm irritable. Think of a nervous tissue like that. It's irritable and it responds. And when it gets irritated, it generates an electrical impulse a lot of times. Is what it's going to do. The superstar of the nervous tissue is the neuron. So you have a neuron that's here. This is a generic diagram of a neuron. And then this neuron has these other cells that surround it. Okay, these other cells that surround it that are called neuroglial cells, and they basically support, insulate, protect the neuron because the neuron's so vitally important. You have this support network of cells that are called neuroglial cells. Okay, that's where we get that term neuroglial cells. You may have heard of a glioblastoma, a neuroglioblastoma, which is a cancer of your nervous tissue. And we'll take a look more at nervous tissue when we look at the nervous system. This neuron doesn't have the ability to regenerate itself once it's in its adult form. So this is why if you like sever your spinal cord or something like that, you don't grow a new spinal cord. So these cells are vitally important. They don't regenerate themselves for the most part. So that is nervous tissue. This is what nervous tissue looks like. When you're looking at nervous tissue, the key is finding the neuron. So the key is finding a neuron that is here. So you can see right here in this picture right here. This is a neuron. Okay, so this is a neuron that's right here that you can see. These are other neurons here. And you can see these are little dots. Those are neuroglial cells that you're looking at there. This is the diagram, kind of an artist's rendition of what you're looking at. This is a good diagram kind of tying everything together. There you can see your nervous tissue, your muscle tissue, your epithelial tissue, your connective tissue. So that kind of wraps that whole chapter up. The final thing I have to take a look at is tissue repair and healing. And ways that tissue can repair itself is through regeneration. And regeneration is just replacing that tissue type with the exact same tissue type. Another type of repair we have is fibrosis, in which we replace that tissue type with another type of tissue is what we're going to do. So it's not the same type of tissue that you're replacing it with. Epithelial tissue, for the most part, goes through regeneration. Like if you destroy epithelial tissue, it will replace itself with more epithelial tissue. It has no problem. A lot of your nervous tissue goes through a process of fibrosis, in which you're taking that nervous tissue and you're replacing it with a dense connective tissue so it doesn't have the same property anymore, which is why you, like if you destroy neural tissue, you lose that sensation, you lose that feeling type of thing. Muscle tissue, like cardiac muscle and things like that, it goes through the process of fibrosis as well, which is why if you destroy heart muscle, You have scarring that occurs in the heart, and your heart doesn't pump as effectively as it once did because you're not replacing it with cardiac muscle. How will we determine whether you go through fibrosis or regeneration is the type of tissue that's been damaged, like I just talked about, and the severity of the injury. Like epithelial tissue, if I get like a massive gouge or a massive cut, it's not going to replace itself with epithelial tissue. You're going to have scarring that's going to occur, and when you get that scar, you notice it's a little bit different. It looks a little bit different than the other tissue. It's a lot more hard, a lot more dense. Hair doesn't go through it and things like that. So that's kind of how we determine whether this tissue type is going to go through regeneration or whether it's going to go through fibrosis. This next slide is showing you what tissue types go through what. Tissues that regenerate themselves relatively easily are going to be epithelial tissue, like your skin, your mucous membranes. Bone is going to repair itself through regeneration easily. Poor regeneration, your skeletal muscle can regenerate itself, but it does it in a poor manner. Replaced largely by scar tissue, your cardiac muscle and your nervous tissue are going to go through fibrosis for the most part. So that is it, guys. I mean, that's basically it. That's basically the tissue unit. You got that one quiz left that you have to take. You have that one quiz left that you have to take. That's going to be over the muscle tissue, the nervous tissue, and then I talk a little bit about fibrosis and regeneration. So that wasn't too bad. That wasn't bad at all. 11-minute conversation piece that we just had. I hope you guys do amazing on that quiz. I really do. I really hope that you finish strong in the tissue unit.